Hi, welcome to the Small Shed. This week we're doing a couple of jobs in the house. See you in a minute. Now there's a couple of things on the bench this week that need doing. One of them's a job that's been hanging around for about 2 or 3 months and therefore getting me into all sorts of trouble with the domestic authorities. Straightforward job, fitting a carpet joining strip. Only it's not, as with most things I do, not quite that straightforward. There was already an existing metal threshold there, which was like an eye section that went underneath the carpet and underneath the floor tiles, and then there was a central aluminium piece and then a piece like this on top. And over the last couple of years it's flexed and it's broken all the way along, so it's left the aluminium strip underneath. I can't take it out without ripping the flooring up in the kitchen because the tiles are laid over it. So I've got an aluminium base plate that's still there, so I've actually got to, I think, drill through that into the concrete, plug it and just pop one of these threshold strips on with the small screws. It's not ideal, but it'll do the job, and that's really all that's important at the moment, because bits of carpet are starting to walk everywhere in the house and I get into trouble for it. So that's the first job. Second one is one for me. About 3 months ago I bid for and successfully won a side table for my recliner chair. My wife's got one that we had when we bought them, but I didn't get one at the time. They were relatively expensive and I didn't think I needed one, but over time I have realised the advantages of having it, so I picked one up on eBay the other day. It looks fine apart from the fact there is two fixing screws missing, which I did know about. So what I'll do is I'll go and have a look at the other one that we've got, see what the fixing method is, what the screw is, because it's screwing into an existing hole. It might actually be a captive nut for all I know, but we'll fit that as well. But we'll start with the strip, which I've got to go in and measure and cut down. Perceived wisdom is to take an equal amount off each side to make the spacings work. But I think if I do that, I end up with quite a long distance between the hole and the jamb of the door. Whereas if I go from one end and measure and cut, it's not quite symmetrical, which won't suit me, but at least it means there's an extra fixing in the length. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fixings instead of 4. So I'm going to go and measure it, make a mark on the plastic there, and then I can just do that on the chop saw and get a nice clean cut on it. So we'll go and measure it up and have a look. Now this is the junction, and that's the old strip. As you can see, there's a piece along the middle that used to stick up here that over time has cracked and come away in 2 places actually, but it leaves the original strip there, so I can't do a lot with that other than, as I said, cover it over. So we will measure this now, measure the opening size, and hopefully we can get holes through and get a new one fitted. You can see up there there's little bits of carpet already walking up the length of the kitchen, so it just needed to tie this up, otherwise we'll end up losing the carpet. Right, now I've marked the size I want. Problem with a line that thick is you don't quite know where to cut, so I've actually remeasured the exact amount and run a sharp craft knife across, so I've got a clear line right through the middle of the black there that I can see. So we'll put it on the chop saw and take the end off it. Now, I'm not very good with my health and safety, but one thing I always try to do is to make sure I've got glasses, safety glasses on when I'm working with this, because it can throw tiny little bits of metal up all over the place and they get into your eyes if you're not careful. That should be it. Job. So all I need to do now is mark where the holes are, knock some pilot holes through the existing aluminium underneath and get some plugs, and we can get this fitted.
Carpet rain a bit now.
Sorry, yes, it was getting away, wasn't it?
Yes, I was a bit concerned, I must admit.
So perhaps the first thing to do is to get a screwdriver and just check what size these are, and that doesn't look like a normal screw. It's a Torx, so it does look like it's some sort of a bolt. So I'll go and get the Torx bits and we'll see if we can sort that out. Right, now I've found a bit in my little pack of bits for odd shaped screws that will fit that. It is a Torx, and it's a Torx T30. So we will whip one of those out. I suspect it'll be a bolt if it's a Torx rather than a screw, and that will then mean we can organise a new one. Yeah, there we go. Looks like a bolt. It is, I'm guessing, 4mm, 6mm, I don't know, 5mm. But what we'll do is get that thread matched. It doesn't have to be a Torx, and although there is a shoulder on that screw, it's only just to go through that hole and carry it through. But I will match that first and then see what I've got by way of a similar bolt. I just need to cut the bolts down very slightly to the length of the originals. These are stainless bolts, but I usually find it's nice to use jeweler's coping saw, and it does a nice finish on the bolt, and it doesn't take that long to cut through rather than a hacksaw. You can see from this that the original bolt was slightly different shape to the countersink one I'm using, but the relief piece in the tube just takes that nicely, and it sits quite snugly in there. So the only real difficult bit now is cutting away at the underneath of the lever. Now it's particularly difficult cutting holes in something that's cost you several £100, but it's a pretty irreversible job, but it is underneath the arm. So hopefully we can just screw that leg in properly, and that's the second of the job's done. Put the second one in there. That's it. That's it. Now all we do is just clip the chair into the hole, and that gives me something that will slide round in all sorts of arrangements to give me a side table that I can now sit and edit on and do stuff when I'm doing video editing at night. Hope that was all of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. Try and do something different, and I'll see you then. Bye.